Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. I have been trying everything I can to get all of the dust out of my chicken coop and nothing is working. I've tried ventilation, trying to get the air to go in one way and out the other, but all you see is millions of particles of dust in the air. And I think one of the reasons is because I use this horse pellet bedding. Now, I absolutely love the horse pellet bedding because it's soft for the chickens to walk on and it composts easily. Like if they poop on it, all I have to do is basically scoop the poop up and the rest of the stuff can stay. Whereas like straw, it would get stuck to straw and you're going through a lot of straw because you're actually throwing away tons of their footing, their bedding, the straw that they walk on. That's why I opted to use horse pellets. I am going to be keeping horse pellets inside their run, which is their outside pen. That is going to be for dust bathing. They can dust bathe in that. They can walk around in it. They'll pick through it, they'll dig through it. But on the inside of the coop is where it's more of an enclosed area where all this dust can fly around. I wear a mask and goggles when I go inside the chicken coop. And that is especially in the morning when they wake up because they like to fly off the coop, they fly off the shelves and they land in this horse pellets and all of it just floofs up into the air. There's millions and millions of particles flying through the air. I can see it. My eyes have been starting to hurt lately. I don't have much makeup on right now, but they've been becoming puffy, and that is because sometimes I walk into the coop without wearing the goggles and the mask. I do get the dust in my nose, I get it in my eyes. I've had swollen eyes before, so I wanted to prevent all that. I am going to be wearing a mask. I also wear these goggles inside the chicken coop. My routine, I go in there and feed them. Nothing gets in my eyes, nothing gets in my respiratory system, and when I leave the coop, I take them off. When I go back in there to feed them treats, I do not wear these things because I'm in there for a short period of time, but there are still particles flying around. We are going to try to prevent that. I did hire my friend to bring some red sand. He's bringing 5 tons. This is going to be laid at 3 inches throughout the whole inside of the coop. I'm going to spend the time and scoop as much of the top layer off as I can. Basically just their feathers that are all over, any old poop that I've missed, rocks that are just on the top, and then we're going to put the red sand on top of all of that. Hopefully in the future with this sand being there, it won't need any more. I still might need to wear these things, but hopefully I won't have to. It's just really dusty in there, and the sand is one of the things that was recommended by people on social media because I would post my post about it being dusty, and red sand was one of the options that they said would work best. Wood chips was another one, but personally I think there's way too many bugs in the wood chips, including ants make like big hills in there, so you've got ants with a bunch of eggs and stuff. And yes, although chickens do eat insects, it's just not, to me, it's not comfortable for them to walk on. I wanted something soft, so sand was my option. We'll see how it works. I'm gonna go out there now and feed the chickens. I'm gonna bring my mask and my goggles and wait for my friend to arrive with the sand. So this is my coop. It has this horse pellet bedding on it, and every time the chickens fly up in the air, they kick up all this dust, and there is millions of particles of dust floating around in this coop. I don't know if you could see it by the light, but there's tons and tons of dust particles. So we're going to be covering all this up with red sand, and hopefully this ventilation will do a little bit better with just moving regular air out of here. But right now, when all the dust gets kicked up, it collects in these fans and it makes it stuffy in here. So my friend is here. He's going to be dropping the red sand over in the same spot that he dropped the compost. So this is where he dropped the compost for the gardens, and now he's going to be dropping this red sand in the same spot so it's somewhat close to the chicken coop so that I can move it from here to there. This is the outside pen. I am going to be leaving this horse pellets just so that they can take dust baths in, because I don't really know if chickens take dust baths in wet sand. Maybe they'd like that, but out here they can kick up the dust, and because it's more ventilated, it's not going to get into our respiratory system. It's not going to get in our eyes and cause problems as much as it would inside there. It's an enclosed space inside here, and messy girls, and this is where we're going to be putting it. Okay, now that my friend has left, he's dropped the red sand, I'm gonna go get my wheelbarrow and a shovel and rake. I'm gonna use like a bigger rake. I'm gonna use this rake to rake as much as of the feathers and the poop as I can off of the top layer of inside of the chicken coop. And then we'll come back in here, I'll get the wheelbarrow and a shovel, and we'll start shoveling the sand inside the coop. Our main objection here is to get all of these pieces of feathers off. We want to get the paper out of here, the straw, any of the poop on the top layer. Then we're going to cover it all with the red sand. I've gone ahead and made 3 little piles. There's one right there, bigger one right there, another little one right here. Cleaned out most of the top layer of this horse pellet bedding. I don't want to take all of it out just because I don't really have anywhere to put it, but to clean this top layer off and then to put 3 inches of sand on it, I hope will keep the dust down. If not, I might have to get more red sand. Now that I have cleaned all of those piles out of the chicken coop, I actually put them all in the mulch pile right there. I still have to mix it up. I went and got the shovel and the wheelbarrow, and I'm going to start shoveling some of this into the wheelbarrow, and I'm going to see exactly how it works. I'm going to have to fit it through that door, fit it through the inside door, and then start dumping it. When I get in there, it's going to scare the chickens. Again, I brought my mask and my goggles because when I was cleaning it out, the chickens got scared. They all flew up and a bunch of dust went everywhere. So thank goodness I was covered up because I don't want all that stuff in my system. I'm going to start doing this now. I'm going to see exactly how long the first round takes. Hopefully this will be easy. Now that I have arrived at the chicken coop, I have to get this wheelbarrow inside that gate without those chickens. Let's try it. I don't know what to do. Nope, it's not gonna work. I tried putting the wheelbarrow inside after the chickens got scared. The wheels are not wanting to move on this surface. I'm gonna have to keep this out here and scoop it into buckets and bring the buckets in one by one and dump them and then spread them with a rake. So it looks like this is what we're gonna have to do. I brought out a little bucket that I can bring in there, close the gate really fast, go dump it, come back out and do it again. And then I can fill this so that I'm closer here. I can go fill it over in the sand pile, wheel it over here, and then continue the process. Let's see how this works. Hopefully it will be easier because I could not get that big thing inside there. I'm sure there's got to be an easier way, but there was no traction there and the door was being left open way too long, and I didn't want to risk the chickens getting out. Done with the first batch. That first batch made 7 little piles. It fit in that corner right there. That is one wheelbarrow full of red sand. I still have yet to spread it, but I'm gonna wait until I get like a little section all filled in, and then we can spread it with the rake. I could put this back. Got 3 chickens laying right there, another chicken laying right there, another chicken laying right there. They can always jump down, but they do use these roosting bars to jump down and jump up to the nest. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably going to take a couple days. I don't think I'm gonna get it all done today, just because one wheelbarrow full is just that little itty bitty corner. We'll see how much we could do today, but it's gonna take some work because it's a back and forth. It's not an easy method to do it. I don't have an easier way. The chickens are scared of this white bucket. As I go into the chicken coop, they all back away, which allows me to have the freedom to go inside without them trying to run out. And it's just, it's a smaller bucket that I am handling rather than this big wheelbarrow. I'm tired because that stuff is heavy. I went ahead and raked up the piles that were here pretty much into a 3-inch layer, just so that it can hide as much of the dusty stuff at the bottom as I can. The chickens are probably going to try to scratch through to the bottom, but at least all of this stuff will be mixed in with the sand rather than this stuff being the sole footing and bedding that they have inside their coop. Got a ways to go. They are curious about what is in this bucket. Well, it also acts like a grit. If they have hard, full crops, they could eat some of this sand to help digest what's in their crop. After several more trips, I've gotten this far. It is about 3 inches deep, if not a little bit thicker. And if I have extra, I'm putting it right on top of all of this. I have been spending some time raking some of the sand out towards the end, like out towards this way, and I just keep filling it in. We do have about 2 or 3 times more of that big section to do. So about this section right here, and then we've got this section right here to do. I also might do inside the sick pen because there is horse pellets inside there as well. And the girls seem to be taking to this pretty well. Like, they're already starting to walk on it. There used to be a huge hole right here from around their food dish. They used to just kick all of the dirt out of the way. So I'm gonna fill that hole with the sand as well. And it looks like we're making some progress. I am super sore and a lot of the pile is still left. This is our pile. If you can remember what it looked like when it was first poured, all of this went out this way. We are making a little bit of a dent. Did some work over there as well, and it does look like we're going to have enough, more than enough, for all of this to fit in the coop and allow them to have a less dusty substance to walk on. And hopefully they don't dig all the way to the bottom and get to the horse pellets, but if they do, I guess I'm gonna trust that it will mix in with the sand and still be less dusty overall. got a little bit more done. It's about halfway done once I get this line right here finished off. I put all the roosting bars back, looking pretty good. I do still have my goggles on because there is all of this still that can be shooting up in the air. So every time they do that, all of the dust from the floor kicks up and all these particles of dust are in the air. It gets into their system, it gets into my systems. We're just changing the flooring and making good progress. There's a ton left. So I might come in here and either do another layer, or I could save the sand out there and refresh this once in a while. I am exhausted. I am actually going to do the rest of it tomorrow. My back hurts, my arms hurt, my head hurts. I am just sore all over, and that is exhausting, and I know I'm definitely gonna have a lot left, so we'll see what happens with the remainder of that. I could either, like I said before, save it for a freshen up of the coop, or put another layer on top of it to make it 6 inches, just so none of that bottom horse pellet dust can get kicked up once they start digging through this. We have about 2/3 of it done. I picked up the food station and put the sand underneath there. I'm also going to be putting the sand inside that sick pen, because the sick pen does have the pellets in it, and whenever they're scared in there, they will fly around, and that's where more dust will fly up. So you can see they've already started walking on all of this, kind of matting it down a little bit, which is pretty cool. There's also my footprints in here, and this is how much we have left. Not too bad. I don't exactly know how I'm gonna get it inside here. I could lift that flap up because that's how I get inside there, but I don't know if I'm gonna get the bucket inside there. But we just have to make that flooring covered. I'll put some in the dust bath, and then just this rest of it. Then we also have a ton left, so I'm gonna be using this rest of this pile for fresh up in the coop whenever it needs to, or I can go back in there and put a second layer on. It's only about 3 inches, but there is quite a bit left. This is 5.5 tons, and I used a good portion of it, but there's still the majority of it left. The entire inside of the coop is done except for the sick pen. This was 3 days doing all of this. I didn't want to film it all because it's all the same thing over and over again. I put it all the way up to the door. I took away their dust bath area over here because they use out here as the dust bath. This will stay horse pellets, and they were dust bathing in that earlier. Look at these chickens. Look at those pretty girls. Now that we are on day 4, I'm gonna take the time to put some red sand inside this sick pen. So I am using this small shovel to put bucket after bucket inside this pen. I'm going through the top of this section right here just because all of this is chicken wired and zip tied to the shelving unit. So I'm just putting it in there with a shovel, and so far this is 2 buckets, so it's not too bad. One thing I can say is that when I do look, there is some dust still flying around, but I don't exactly know where it's coming from. There is a lot less dust than there was in here before. I think this is a wrap on this project. That project took 4 days, and that was to put the red sand bucket by bucket inside the chicken coop, as well as the entire sick pen inside the chicken coop. We're gonna see how this does with dust. Hopefully it keeps the dust down, because now a couple days later I do notice that even though the red sand is in there, as I put more red sand the dust got less, but after it was all said and done and everything was on there, I still saw dust particles in the air. So I might take the time to clean the shelves and the walls and get all that dust off, because I can imagine that's playing a part in the ventilation is probably hitting the walls. Maybe less of the sand, but more so the walls and what's on the shelves maybe. I don't know. But we're gonna try our hardest to keep up with the maintenance on this chicken coop. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and click the notifications bell so you can receive a notification every time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. It's gonna take a while, but
hopefully, don't put that.
I'm also going to be putting it under, don't put that.